But they're amazing women who have taken it upon themselves to really go beyond the Me Too. So Me Too is identification and awareness, and now they're doing things. And they had great achievement award winners, Marissa, the judge. Their interviews will also be on my YouTube channel this week. They are doing things to change what is broken, which is the whole point of my show. Is I want to take people who have limelight and take their light and shine it on those areas of darkness, because all pain in life is mandatory. Suffering's optional, and we have the ability, when we've gone through that pain, to transmute it and help those who are feeling that now. And so kudos to them. Also, there's some shots here of another fantastic book signing at one of my favorite places on the planet, Fern's Garden. If you haven't been there on 2nd Street, amazing. Fern has been a great supporter of mine for years and years, first with my children's book, Mommy What Are Feelings, to my motivational cards, to my Balanced Tai Chi Go DVD, and then, of course, my latest baby, 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are. So we had a great party there. Lots of people came and supported. And again, thank you. I now have a real badge that says best-selling author. Thanks to all of you. Made it onto 3, not 1 list, but 3 lists for bestseller. Number 4, Denver Post. Number 6, Happiness. Number 7, Success on Amazon. 3 medals, 2 gold and silver, all thanks to all the support that's been getting. If you don't know, I've actually been on a little bit of a radio tour. I've been on NBC Atlanta, TV, CBS, KMOX radio, and a whole bunch of stuff. So if you're interested in that, make sure you go to my website, the number 4balance.org, and I am going to be starting a Facebook page specifically for the book. So please do go there. I'm looking right now for 8 people to beta test a work through the book together call. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I am also going to give a shout out. I happen to be having birthday dinner. Lisa Michelle and I share the same week for birthdays, and I accidentally, on purpose, caught an engagement happening in progress at the table beside us. So I am giving a shout out to where's their names? I put it down here. Peace in and peace out. Shout out to Anthony and Cassandra. So I got to be their photo credit gal. So very congratulations to you. And now I am going to introduce to you a very, very special guest. Brad Yates is known internationally for his creative and often humorous use of emotional freedom techniques, EFT. He's the author of best-selling children's book, The Wizard's Wish, and the co-author of the bestseller Freedom at Your Fingertips. He's a featured expert in the film The Tapping Solution. He's also been a presenter at a number of events, including Jack Canfield's Breakthrough to Success. And it's funny, if you saw the little red carpet interview I did with Jack, he actually gives a commercial to EFT. He's done teleseminars with the Secret Stars Bob Doyle and Dr. Joe Vitale, and has been heard internationally on a number of internet radio talk shows, now including mine. Brad has also well over 750 videos on YouTube that have been viewed over 21 million times. And he was so kind to help me out on my launch day. We did a live Facebook video that he posted on YouTube, has had great response, and for that I said, you are coming on the show and I have to at least return the favor. We actually met in Europe on the water. We were both keynote speakers for the Women of Global Change International Summit. We got to go and help build shelters for women and children in Barcelona, and then we bonded, him and his wife Christy, who is fabulous. And so we actually went and hung out in Rome after the cruise and got to have this amazing tour. I want to give him a shout out too, and I'll let you do that. But
actually threw out the first batch because that's not
it's
possible.
not possible.
And they ran it again and said, oh, wow, actually that is. So when you consider that most physical and emotional issues are either caused or worsened by stress, then to have something this simple that can clear out stress is invaluable. And that's why you see so many people, it's growing in popularity, so many people using it, people at the highest levels of achievement. There are Super Bowl and World Series winning athletes who use it to improve their performance. I've worked with professional athletes, rock stars, all kinds of people are using this, even though it looks a little strange, because they want things to get better. Nothing's so good that it can't get better.
Right. Now, I didn't know that it had Chinese beginnings, so now I really like it. Of course, I know you thought I was Swedish, but I'm actually Chinese, and that's fabulous. So you're not sticking needles in those points, but they're proven points of
dismiss it so much as like I'm not going to do it, then it's not going to work.
right.
But it's a physical process, so it's not about belief. It's now when it was first discovered, gentlemen. Rather than taking all the time to figure out which points to tap. And so he called this streamlined version emotional freedom techniques.
Got it. So freedom from phobias was the original intent, right? Yeah. But now it's used for everything, right? So your clients come, and what do they find freedom from? Men, I'm sorry. bad men.
Bad memories.
Bad memories. Okay, better.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from. What were we talking about
We
at
might need
breakfast?
to tap on that, Dr. Marissa.
Yeah. Well, I think it was the matchmaker thing. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Married men, unavailable men. It's so.
I think we have two things to tap on now.
What I help people do basically is change their mind so that they can get better results, because we create our reality for the most part. Some will say, well, what do you mean for the most part? Absolutely.
Yes.
And it's from the decisions we make. And most of our decisions are made unconsciously. We live habitually. And it's from our belief systems.
Yes.
So what happens is if we try to change that, we experience stress.
Okay.
Because change is very stressful to the human being. So when we try to change something like changing our diet, eating more healthy, exercising, going out on a date, going for a job interview, all these different things, the amygdala goes, warning, danger, and we experience stress, and we will shut ourselves down. If we're thinking, if we've been thinking about getting into a relationship, and we've had bad relationships in the past, we could be in the grocery store, and part of our mind will unconsciously see a cute stranger a little ways off, and before we're even consciously aware of them, part of us says, oh, look, there's a sale on aisle 2. And we're down the thing. And consciously, we're not even aware of it, but unconsciously, we're thinking, whew, dodge that bullet. Because we might have met that person, we might have gotten along with them, we might have gone on a date, a second date, a third date, and it would have broken my heart just like that last person. So we're taking care of ourselves. I like to say that self-sabotage is simply misguided self-love. Everything we do, overeating, of meeting unavailable people, going out with the wrong people, showing up late for job interviews, all this stuff, it's all self-sabotage, but it's all done because part of us is saying it's keeping me safely in my comfort zone. It's what I'm familiar with, it's what I'm comfortable with. Our lives might be crap. Can I say crap?
Yeah, you can say crap.
Okay. Our lives might be crap, but part of us says, yeah, but it's my crap. I know where it goes. I'm used to it. I've got cabinets specially made for it. I don't want to deal with new crap.
Right.
So that's the thing. So when we try to make changes, we experience stress. Now, if only we had something to deal with that stress. So this is where the tapping comes in. Is we look at where we're getting stuck, where we're getting blocked in trying to make these positive changes in our lives.
Okay.
And when, rather than getting stuck with that stress, we just use this simple technique for calming it down and saying, okay, what am I afraid of? And when we can look at it, we go, oh, that's not real. That's not a real threat. I can handle that. Yeah, beautiful. And if you've just tuned in and you're wondering who my fabulous guest is today, it is Brad Yates, and he is the EFT expert, emotional freedom technique that I have on the air today to help us all with overcoming or letting go of self-sabotage, even though I didn't really know that's what we were going to do. But I love that it's really, how did you say it? Self-sabotage is self-love, misguided self-love. And you are tuned in to take my advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. And Brad and I met on the ocean of abundance in Europe, and his beautiful wife is here just visiting and saying hi, and I connected with them and just fell in love, and we've been best friends ever since. Just kind of really, I mean, they really supported me, even though Christy didn't make me tap. But right before the book launch, I was in a pickle, and Christy was on the text, just take a breath, and it's like, I just love it when people use my crap on myself, But since we're here and I have you on my show, I'm going to actually let you work on me because I've never tried tapping except for the little bit we got on the boat when we were both keynote speakers. But you were off winning a singing contest.
Yes, and I missed a session. I made it to the finals of The Voice at sea, and I felt really bad. So now I get my own private lesson.
Don't feel bad on my account. I'm helping people feel good.
Right. So okay. So I'm going to put the moose on the table, which is my Canadian version of talking about the elephant in the room. I was going to do Well, I'm still going to do it because the guy thing is way too personal. So let's do the weight thing, and I'll give you a little background. I actually did this when Janine Roth was on my show. So I think, as a self-diagnosed corporate consultant psychologist, I am. So I was told I was fat, ugly, and clumsy my whole life at home. And so I would sneak food because I was told, don't eat. And so I'd get kicked under the table when I was eating or food slapped out of my hand. So I developed a habit of sneaking down in the middle of the night and eating whatever's in the fridge. So I ballooned to a 50 pound at the age of 12 or 13, size 15, 16. Was in Singapore for a year. My father was a professor, and I was taken to a doctor, and he said, if you continue eating like this, you're going to be 200 pounds. So I was told to cut out all sweet, and I did. And then I took it to another extreme, and by the age of 17, I had lost 40-some pounds and began modeling, because what better way to prove that I'm not fat, ugly, and clumsy? So I started modeling, and I was pretty severely underweight. So I think I self-diagnosed as an anorexic because I just could control and stopped eating. So that was in my teens, did quite well, did 8 years of modeling, and then got married and had kids and went back up. And then, that led to getting reinforced that I was unattractive. And so I would stress eat. And then I went through a divorce, and I call it the divorce diet because I lost 38 pounds again. And so I went back down to very unhealthy size 0. So that swing. And then now I am... I stopped drinking, and that led to some gain. I had no idea that alcohol had so much sugar, but I gained some weight on that. And I have pictures of myself, 1, modeling, and 2, with the size 0 post-divorce diet, and where people were concerned, said I looked sickly, but I thought I looked fabulous. And now I still see myself as overweight, and, I used to say, I haven't said this for a while, and I said I wasn't going to say it again, but it is funny. So people say, you look great, you don't look like you're overweight. And I said, that's because my clothes are like false advertising. If I took them off, you'd run screaming. It's like, ah! So I know I've had 2 children, and I get that. I get that I've had 2 children. I get that I'm not 20. I get that even though I'm ageless, I get all that. But I still feel fat and unattractive, especially if I'm walking by a mirror when I'm naked. There you have the whole story. Here we go.
What would happen? Here's the idea. And actually, I'm going to suggest that you go ahead and be tapping to begin with. Just right here where the collarbone is just about to come together. Mm-hmm. Just even with your fingertips, or you make a fist right where your collarbones come together. Mm-hmm. Part of you is afraid of feeling beautiful. And which would make sense logically given the bad divorce. It's like, wow, if I felt beautiful out there and I could get myself into all myself that I shouldn't be on the market, I can stay safely in my comfort zone. It goes back to that thing of even when releasing the stress that holds us in these beliefs. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is tapping gently on the side of your hand. And so actually, Marissa, you can go open your eyes.
Okay, good,
and,
because I have no idea where you were going with that. Okay.
So the first place is, so with the fingertips of the index and middle finger, tapping on the, what we call the carotid chop point on the other hand.
Okay.
And just repeat after me. Even though I'm afraid to acknowledge my beauty,
Even though I'm afraid to acknowledge my beauty,
I choose to love and accept myself.
I choose to love and accept myself.
Even though I'm afraid to acknowledge my beauty,
Even though I'm afraid to acknowledge my beauty,
I choose to love and honor myself.
I choose to love and honor myself.
You okay?
Yep. Tears
All
are
right,
the
yeah.
disinfectant that keep your heart soft. That's what I tell my clients.
All right.
I just love having to eat my own words. No, this is good.
Even though I'm afraid of acknowledging my beauty,
Even though I'm afraid of acknowledging my beauty,
and as painful as it is
and as painful as it is
to call myself fat,
to call myself fat,
it feels safer.
it feels safer.
And even though I'm afraid to acknowledge my beauty,
And even though I'm afraid to acknowledge my beauty,
I choose to deeply and completely
I choose to deeply and completely
love, honor, and accept myself,
love, honor, and accept myself.
and maybe anyone else involved in this,
And maybe anyone else involved in this.
because they did some really stupid things,
They did some really stupid things,
but they were doing the best they could,
but they were doing the best that they could.
and I choose to be free.
And I choose to be free.
Tapping right at the beginning of your eyebrow. I'm afraid to acknowledge my beauty.
I'm afraid to acknowledge my beauty.
Right here at the corner of the eye. It feels safer to call myself fat.
It feels safer to call myself fat.
Right under the eye. It feels safer to beat myself up.
It feels safer to beat myself up.
Under the nose. It feels safer to call myself ugly.
It feels safer to call myself ugly.
Under the mouth. Because if I acknowledge my beauty,
Because if I acknowledge my beauty,
collarbone, I could get myself into all kinds of trouble.
I could get myself into all kinds of trouble.
Right under
That's
your
a
arm.
10 on that one.
So right under the armpit.
Okay.
All this fear of calling myself beautiful.
All of this fear of calling myself beautiful.
And then right here on the top of the head. All this fear of acknowledging my beauty.
All of this fear acknowledging my beauty.
And then for everyone listening, I'm just going to keep going through so each phrase that I say, I'm going to be tapping a different point. So just going through that same series. It doesn't feel safe
It doesn't feel safe
to acknowledge my beauty
to acknowledge my beauty
because I'm afraid I get myself into trouble.
because I'm afraid I get myself into trouble.
Because if I acknowledge that I'm beautiful,
Because if I acknowledge that I'm beautiful,
that's the kind of energy I'm going to put out.
that's the kind of energy I'm going to put out.
And people are going to notice.
And people are going to notice.
People are going to get excited.
People are going to get excited.
Then I have to deal with all kinds of other crap.
I have to deal with all kinds of other crap.
If I call myself fat,
If I call myself fat,
if I call myself ugly,
if I call myself ugly,
it's I'm putting energy out there,
I'm putting the energy out there,
telling people,
telling people,
don't even bother.
don't even bother.
I'm not worth the time.
I'm not worth the time.
And that keeps them at arm's distance,
And that keeps them at arm's distance,
if not further away.
if not further away.
And it can be lonely,
And it can be lonely,
and it can be painful.
it can be painful,
But part of me says,
but part of me says,
pain and loneliness
pain and loneliness,
I can deal with.
I can deal with.
Intimacy
Intimacy
and the possible pain that comes from that,
and the pain that comes from that,
no thank you.
no thank you.
So it's so much easier
So it's so much easier
to keep myself safe.
to keep myself safe.
And I have all this evidence
And I have all this evidence
from my past
from my past
that helps me say that I'm fat and ugly.
that helps me say that I'm fat and ugly.
I heard it for so long.
I heard it for so long.
I heard for so long
I heard it for so long
that I'm not good enough.
that I'm not good enough.
All this belief that I'm not good enough.
All this belief that I'm not good enough.
And all these people who told me that.
And all the people that told me that.
But I gotta ask,
But I gotta ask,
were any of these people Nobel Prize winners?
were any of these people Nobel Prize winners?
Why did I believe them?
Why did I believe them?
Who says they were right?
Who says they were right?
For thousands of years,
For thousands of years,
they said the world was flat.
they said the world was flat.
And they were always wrong.
And they were always wrong.
Same when they said that I wasn't good enough.
Same as when they said I wasn't good enough.
When they said I wasn't beautiful.
When they said I wasn't beautiful.
They just couldn't see it.
They just couldn't see it.
And when they told me that I was fat,
And when they told me I was fat,
I'm open to the possibility
I'm open to the possibility
that they had some positive intentions.
that they had some positive intentions.
My dad was trying to protect me.
My dad was trying to protect me
from something that he thought would be bad for me.
from something she thought would be bad for me.
They didn't know any better.
They didn't know any better.
They weren't licensed therapists either.
They weren't licensed therapists either.
They were doing the best they could.
They were doing the best they could.
With really crappy programming.
With really crappy programming.
And I can hang on to that.
And I can hang on to that.
Because it feels safer to do so.
Because it feels safer to do so.
Because I've been hanging on to it for a long time.
Because I've been hanging on to it for a long time.
I can also set myself free.
I can also set myself free.
Because I've heard a lot of stupid things in my life.
Because I've heard a lot of stupid things in my life.
And a lot of that I have let go of.
And a lot of that I have let go of.
Part of me says,
I
can't let go of this.
I can't let go of this.
I need to hang on to it.
I need to hang on to it.
It's not safe to let it go.
It's not safe to let it go.
And I'm clearing that fear.
And I'm clearing that fear.
Clearing it at a cellular level.
Clearing it at a cellular level.
And all the way back through my past.
And all the way back through my past.
Back through all the times that I got the message.
Back through all the times that I got the message.
That I was fat.
That I was fat.
That I was ugly.
That I was ugly.
That I was not beautiful.
That I was not beautiful.
That I was not good enough.
That I was not good enough.
All this fear of letting that go.
All this fear of letting that go.
All this fear of believing something different.
All of this fear about believing something different.
Because there was a time in my life.
Because there was a time in my life.
Where I started to allow myself to know that I was attractive.
That I started to let myself know that I was attractive.
And some trouble came from that.
And some trouble came from that.
So part of me is saying,
don't
make that mistake again.
Don't make that mistake again.
And I love and forgive myself.
And I love and forgive myself.
For all of these brilliant but misguided ways.
For all of these brilliant but misguided ways.
That I've been trying to keep myself safe.
That I've been trying to keep myself safe.
And now I choose to really love myself.
And now I choose to really love myself.
It's safe to know that I'm beautiful.
It's safe to know that I'm beautiful.
I can handle the consequences of knowing that.
I can handle the consequences of knowing that.
I may have a lot of doubts about that.
I have a lot of doubts about that.
But I've always handled everything in my life.
But I've always handled everything in my life.
Maybe not as gracefully as I would have liked.
Maybe not as gracefully as I would like.
But I'm still here.
But I'm still here.
Which is proof that I handled it.
Which is proof that I handled it.
And I have a new tool now.
And I have a new tool now.
To help me handle things even better.
To help me handle things even better.
So I'm letting go of these restraints.
Letting go of this
belief that I'm fat and ugly.
Letting go of this belief that I'm fat and ugly.
I'm a magnificent child of the universe.
I'm a magnificent child of the universe.
And I'm acknowledging my beauty.
And I'm acknowledging my beauty.
In body, mind, and spirit.
In body, mind, and spirit.
And take a deep breath. And with your eyes closed, and for everyone else, just, whatever you were thinking about before, but Dr. Marissa, go ahead and say, I'm beautiful.
I'm beautiful.
And just let that rattle around inside. And that was a 3 before, and let me know if that's shifted at all.
7.8.
More than doubled it. Nicely done. Nicely done. And so when we do this, for some folks, if you actually did a number rating on whatever was going on for you and did the tapping, you may notice that the number has changed. It may more than doubled. It may still feel like it hasn't the number hasn't shifted, but you may be more aware of some things like, oh, no, I still feel that it's at this, but I now remember where it first happened, or there may be significant events that you have avoided looking at, and then you can go and do some more tapping on your own or work with a professional and clear those events and really let that stuff go that just isn't true about yourself anymore. And so on the other one, so say, I'm fat.
I'm fat.
And that was, I think, an 8 before. And does that feel any different now?
5.8.
Okay.
I was going to say 6, but it doesn't have an 8 in it, so I had to downgrade it.
So, you could look at, okay, for how many years have you been at an 8 in terms of thinking yourself fat? And now in a matter of minutes to be able to take that down to a 5.8 and recognizing, okay, so it's a belief. Mm-hmm. And there's, years of things, and we don't, it's not that we would have to go and tap through every event in your life that ever was there. And sometimes when we're doing it, it's like if we have a field and it's filled with giant boulders, and we want to cultivate that field, and we spend all day long moving one boulder, and then we come out the next day and we say, my field is still filled with boulders. Yes, but you've moved a giant boulder, and so it may take a while. And again, sometimes it happens very quickly, sometimes it takes longer, but for me, every boulder we move is huge, and it's like
my fingers are tingling.
Yeah, tingling is there are a lot of different.
That's when I
things.
teach Tai Chi. That's a sign of unblocking.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
I definitely, and I'm getting. We're way over on our promotions.
Oh, sorry.
So that's okay. That's okay. It was fabulous. We'll be right back after we thank the sponsors who make the show possible. We'll be back in 2 and 2. Peace in and peace out.
Welcome to Balanced Tai Chi Go. My name is Dr. Marissa Pei. We will be slow dancing with the universe in a moving meditation that promotes inner peace, one breath at a time. As a corporate psychologist, I created this practice in response to my life and those of my clients. We were professional, high achievement-oriented, multitasking control freaks and exhausted. No matter how many successes, it was never enough. That, coupled with a painful life experience, led me on a quest to find another way to live and back to my Chinese roots. If you practice regularly, you will be in a place of balance and inner peace, the way we were created. 谢谢. Welcome to Balanced Tai Chi.
And we're back. There we go. You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa. Broadcasting live out of the Sunset Gower Studios in Hollywood, California with UBN Radio TV, Universal Broadcasting Network, and then syndicated everywhere on iHeartRadio. And you can still find me on CNBC at KCAA. I am here, and I just went through I would say, life-changing exercise. Thank you very much, Brad Yates. And, it's always my book, 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are, is, thank God I have a show called Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, because, there's always something, right? And I have said to people, that's like the last area that I seem to just hold on to those sabotaging BS belief systems. Yeah. That keep, I don't think anybody would say that I'm not powerful, but look out. I mean, if I can really anchor in the okayness and the truth that I don't have to starve myself, like I get mad that I can't starve myself to get back to that. And I know that that's not the answer. I know that accepting myself and the voices, and I talk about this in the book with the critic, because the critic is saying, but you are fat. You do have belly fat. You are a lumpy. You are, you puffy. So, and you could use more exercise and a healthier diet. So that voice, is it reacting to the tapping? Is it saying, whoa, Nelly?
And it often does, yeah, because we have, we've been playing these games with ourselves for so long. There tends to be a lot of resistance. One of the problems is that we are so programmed to believe that we are motivated by misery. That the only way I'm going to get myself in shape is if I call myself fat. If I look in the mirror and I berate myself, and if I really hate my body enough, then I'll finally be motivated to exercise. And I always want to say to people, how's that working for you? Because it generally doesn't get us as motivated as we'd like, and we're unhappy. And even if it does get us motivated, we're still unhappy because we're just hating on ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
But we have this fear. And this is another thing I've tapped with folks all a long time, and I'll invite folks to even be tapping right now as I talk about this. We have this belief that if I don't hate the fat, then I won't motivate myself. If I love myself right where I am
Right.
I'm just going to sit on the couch eating
And eat
pints,
bonbons and getting fatter.
You know, because if I love myself right now, I won't care. To which I'll say, okay, if you have children, if you love your children, do you say, you know, I love you so much, I love you no matter what, you know, let's go to McDonald's every night. And then we'll go to Baskin-Robbins afterwards. And this is nothing against McDonald's or Baskin-Robbins. Just if you have a steady diet of that.
your show, for sure.
If you have that steady diet, you can't eat it every meal.
Yeah.
It's, you know, when we love someone, we want to take care of them. We want to treat them right. So when we truly love ourselves, we want to take care of ourselves. We want ourselves to be in the best shape possible. So when we recognize that, when we let go of this belief that loving myself right now means that I will just stop caring about my physical well-being, it's like that just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But we don't think about that because we have so much programming from society and other people.
BS, belief systems that just don't serve us. It doesn't work.
It doesn't really work.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
But when we try to change, we have a stress response, and that's why we do the tapping, is to break down that stress response to where we can look at it and say, oh, that is BS.
I am so glad that this show is live, but it goes into podcast, because I will be doing that, because I feel a shift, but I know I'm going to have to, you know, really, as I call it, strengthen that muscle of balance-centered Marissa, who was talking, what you were talking to, and she was tapping, and in order for me to, you know, get my critic to have a seat, that's a continued thing. And I can't believe we're out of time, because I would like to do the same thing around other stuff, but we are out of time. And the last
Lots
question,
of videos on YouTube.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. How do we find you? You have a wealth of tools already offered for free on your YouTube channel. So how do we find you?
So thank you. You can find me at tapwithbrad.com, and on YouTube, Tap with Brad, or just put in Brad Yates. Just put in tapping or EFT, and probably some of my videos are going to come up. And just clearing on all kinds of different issues where we have these beliefs that stop us from feeling better, doing better, and living better.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the gift of what you just did with me.
Thank you for your honesty and courage.
Absolutely. And Brad has books that you can get also on Amazon, on your site as well. Children's book. It's fantastic. I took a little look at it. As well, my interview with him about 8 Ways to Happiness, as well as this. I'm hoping that this becomes a million watch, because I was very honest, and I think there's a lot of people who are in that same. And my new sound engineer was actually tapping too, which I was really proud of him for.
I appreciate that.
Yay, Ryan. So my last question all the time of guests is, what are you most grateful to or for?
Oh. What am I going to say? My wife is.
I know. I was just going to say.
My wife and our two wonderful kids. I am so blessed. It's we don't have enough time for me to count my blessings. But absolutely.
But that's wonderful.
Even if she wasn't here, I would still say.
I'm sure you would have. I'm sure you'd wipe that sarcastic. I don't believe it. Okay, now she's kissing. Thank you so much, Brad Yates, for being on the show and working with me so generously. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And it is time now at the end of the show where I invite you to step up to my balance bar. And I am going to first give the commercial for 21-day fast from complaining. Round 87 starts September 1st. So if complaining is one of your conscious or unconscious bad habits, you can tap on it, and you can also get the app that keeps track of how much you complain and use the cognitive way of staying away from complaining. As well, this Saturday I will be doing my balanced Tai Chi Gong moving meditation on the beach in Rosie's Dog Beach in Long Beach as well. We did not make it all the way through the pictures. I did want to acknowledge all of the red carpet people that I met and got to speak with and got to really bathe in their magnificence and the work that they're doing, being a beneficial presence on the planet. Which reminds me, I am presenting you with Dr. Marissa's beneficial presence on the planet, which I don't give to a lot of people. So one more applause for that one, because of the work that you are. He's one of the most generous people I know. So I definitely wanted to acknowledge you for that. I will be speaking in San Diego at another amazing 2-day, I don't know if there's any spots left, but if you're really interested in going to a one-of-a-kind business conference that has, I know my friend Don Wells is going to be there, Marianne from Gilligan's Island. I saw a picture. I know the founder of UGG Boots for sure is going to be there. The founder of Make-A-Wish Foundation, all friends of mine are going to be there. And the best part is it's the first time on Greg's stage for me. So I get to talk about happiness there. So if you are interested in going, it's by invitation only. It's an investment, but it's well worth it. If you've never been to Greg Reed's events, you will be amazed. So that is September 12th and 13th in San Diego. And then I'm going to be in the other end of California at the Agape Bay Area in Oakland. I'll be doing a 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are mini workshop on Sunday, September the 23rd from 1:30 to 3:30. There is an Eventbrite RSVP, so make sure you do that so the space is limited. And I think that's all I have today. So next week is a surprise secret guest. So just you're going to have to keep it tuned to a show about hope and happiness. Take my advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa. World peace through inner peace. So peace in and peace out. And
take away the part of me that wants to stay. It's all I want to hear my life.
Loma Linda for less confrontation and more information.